in Reston. So Scott, you'll be familiar with Reston. And I'm very familiar with the traffic that you deal with. That is awful. It's too bad your niche couldn't be road rage coaching. You'd have an enormous business. Aldrin, thank you so much. But, tell me also where you're located. When we do these webinars with Numi, we will have people from all over the world, from India to Johannesburg, like as we have earlier, to California, to Florida. We'll have people from all over the world. Bruce from Virginia, great. Hey, thanks, Mary from Ponte Vedra. We're very close, Mary. I'm in St. Augustine. So good for you. You are winning the battle. Because you and I are very close to each other. That's awesome. Ponte Vedra is beautiful, beautiful area. We usually wait till about 3 minutes past the hour before we get started. So we'll just wait just a few more minutes. We have a number of people still coming in. So please go ahead and say where you're located and maybe even how long you've been coaching or what got you into coaching to begin with. We have people I see from Canada. We have people from all over. From Brooklyn, New York, Julian. I'm from Staten Island, New York, and lived in Brooklyn as a kid. So I'm a big Mets fan, Julian, because I'm from Staten Island, so I'm a Mets fan. So I don't know if from Brooklyn, you might be a Yankees fan, which we might have an issue on the call early. We might not be able to get along. I just want to make sure you understand that. These Mets feelings run deep inside of me. Those of you who are not American baseball fans, you'll know. Okay, very good. All right, I understand. It's okay. Thank you. We have Paris. Wonderful. Thank you, Cecilia. Cecilia talked about coaching mid-career professional women. So Cecilia is going to get high marks for me. I think one of the, we don't talk about this in the webinar, but even though 70% of people that are involved in personal development are women, that's just statistically. I think that I just love the fact, of any time women are helping other women with self-esteem and encouragement and leadership development. As a father of arguably the greatest daughter on planet Earth, I love the fact that, Cecilia, you're doing what you're doing. I think you are incredible for doing that. And I want to do anything I can do to help your practice. I think that is amazing. I'll get emotional. I start talking about my daughter. I just think she's just the greatest. And I just love anytime you help women just be stronger and better leaders. And I just love that. Vicky from Half Moon Bay, California. Awesome. More women in business and technology. Thank you. I think that is incredible. I think that is great. We've got Atlanta, Georgia in the house. That's just up the road. Very, very good. We're going to go ahead and get started today. Thank you, everybody. We've got fantastic attendance on this Monday. I'm so excited to talk with you all today. I'm going to share my screen with you all. Just to double check real quick. If somebody could just throw in the chat, if you can all see the front screen, if that works, if you can just say, yes, that works. And then okay, very good. We're going to talk today about niching your practice. And I'm really excited to cover this conversation with everybody today. And we're going to go through a lot of content. And just as a housekeeping item, if you're, I sent some information to everybody, but if you feel the need, you want to take screenshots or you're trying to get information from the slides, I promise all of you, you will get, and I will give you copies of the slides. Take notes on what you're inspired by. Take notes on what you're inspired to do with it. The content itself, I'll give you. I'll give you just for being a part of this webinar. And so don't feel like you got to take screenshots or something like that. And we'll move through it pretty quickly so we save time at the end for some questions about your specific practices. And the question is, I got to close around this chat box here. Why are we here? There has really never been a better time to be a coach. And if you just look at some of the studies that have come out, especially since COVID, the coaching industry is continuing to expand at record rates. It's expected to cross the 20 billion mark by the end of this year. And with COVID and the expansion of remote coaching, they think the remote coaching industry will be between 8 and 10 billion on its own by the end of 2026. And it has an enormous satisfaction rate on its own. I mean, it just has never been a better time to be a coach, which is, I think, why you're all in this industry. But there are some brutal facts about the coaching industry, and that's why also you're here. And these are things I don't want you to ignore, and I want you all to really understand. The first thing is about coaching schools and this coaching school confusion. That's the circle on the left. Coaching board certified or certifications, you could get a certification between $97 on a weekend boot camp up to $100,000 for some really expensive certification. And what that provides you is kind of up in the air as far as the level of certification. And that we'll talk more about that later in the webinar. There's an extreme high failure rate. Around 90% of coaches actually never get sustainable income. It's called the Big 90. We will talk about that in a moment. And with all this high expansion, there's industry saturation with no barrier of entry. There's more and more coaches every year. I was at a conference last year where one group was saying that due to COVID, the number of coaches is growing at a startling rate of 900% year over year. And so it is becoming harder and harder for coaches to attract clients and become successful. This number is why we're here. ICF did a landmark study where they determined nearly 90% of coaches make less than $30,000 a year, 30,000 US a year. I want you to stare at this pie chart really carefully, because I want you to figure out, where are you and where do you want to be? Are you one of the 1% 7-figure coach? Are you a 6-figure coach? That's 4% of the industry. Are you a full-time coach where you are actually making a full-time income? Or are you part of that big orange Pac-Man, less than $30,000 a year? And the reason why is not because of your passion. I guarantee that entire pie chart, all of it, are passionate about people, passionate about helping them. They love what they do. They love to help people. Every one of them is booming with love for coaching. But the study showed the reason why is because of business skills, insufficient marketing. They don't know how to sell coaching. They couldn't find a niche. That was the reason why, not because of love for their work or love for people. Your clients and your potential clients will not care about how passionate you are. They will care about your business skills, your ability to market, your ability to sell, and your ability to have a niche. And so you've got to identify where you're at on that pie chart and how to get out of it to get into the section you want to be in. Now, there's a number of questions here. Which one of these can you relate to the most? Which one? I've got a bunch of these statements here. You don't know how to manage your time correctly, right? You can't seem to focus on what you should work on to grow your business. Sorry, my dog is right here barking, right? You don't know how to find new clients or maybe prioritize what you should focus on. This is called work from home-itis, right? Like you want to grow, but you don't know where you should focus. Or you're good at what you do, but you just wish people could find you. Or you're tired of people asking you what coaching is. Who's tired of that one, right? I wish people would just stop asking me, well, what is it? What does a coach really do? And this one drives me the most insane of how many times these agencies are hitting you up on social media saying they promise to fill your calendar with high ticket coaching clients, right? And by the way, I'm going to go off script here. If any of these agencies are sending you messages promising you, every one of them is a scam. Do not trust them. Do not spend any money with them. They're all just trying to steal your money. Do not do that. That one makes me the most angry of how much they're trying to prey on you as coaches. Or maybe you don't know how much to charge for coaching. All those things are part of that business skill set. All those things are part of that foundational piece, which puts you into that 90%. Today's webinar is about this problem. The number one reason coaching practices fail for not finding a niche. And when you don't have a niche, you have difficulty standing out. You can't seem to market yourself to make people attract to you. You don't have credibility in the marketplace or with what you're trying to sell. And it's difficult for people to refer clients to you. You might get some referrals up front, but over time, they get slower and slower. Our goals today are to give you a real tactical plan so all of you could get off of this webinar and have a step-by-step guide of what to do to niche down. Some of you have been probably wrestling with niching for years, and you should be able to find your niche after this call. It's perfect after this webinar. It's perfect for new coaches if you're brand new to the industry. And if you've been doing this for a long time, we've had some people that at the beginning said they've been doing this for years. It's perfect for you. If you've been struggling to niche down, you'll know exactly what to do in order to niche. And if you'll stay all the way through the end, we'll talk a little bit about what we do and how we work with coaches. And we've got some new bonuses that we've never actually talked about before that I'm excited to share about all the way at the very end. And if it's a great fit, we'd love to find a way to work together if it's a great fit for you. Now, this slide is a little bit about me, and it's a little awkward. I always feel weird talking about this slide, but it's important because in this industry, I'm always surprised at how many coaches there are that like to teach coaches about being coaches. Coaches who teach coaches about being coaches. Last year, I read 3 books that were by coaches that were trying to teach coaches to grow their coaching practice. And when I met those coaches, I was surprised to see that they were part of the 89%. They didn't even have really successful practices. And I show you this slide because my practice, we crossed $1 million last year. We were a 7-figure practice. This isn't some fake course or something that's hypothetical. Everything I'm going to walk you through today in the webinar are the things we've done and do in my practice every day. They're the things that we follow. And this isn't some fake hypothetical theory. These are the things that I've used in my practice to build it to 7 figures. And that's why we teach them, because I believe them and use them every day. We were named Inc. Best in Business, top 5 management consulting company last year. We were named the #1 online trainer in the United States by Best Company last year, as well as top 10 business coach by multiple organizations and the #1 in the state of Florida last year. So we back up everything we teach on purpose. And that's why we're here talking to you today. So thank you. I want to honor you for taking the time to invest in your practice and in yourself. And we're going to give you some very high quality content that you can use today. I promise you that. And I'm going to give it to you right up front. The first piece is understanding your undeniable authority. That's the first piece. Then the next one is naming your program, building and naming your program. And the last one is focus your message. All of these pieces are about finding your niche and being able to sell it. And I'm going to walk through the step-by-step process to do each. The first piece about your undeniable authority. Let me briefly tell you how I started my practice. Now, at this point, when I decided to be a coach, I kind of came about a back door. I was an executive at the time. I was an owner of a business, a part owner, and I was a chief revenue officer of a financial services business. We were about 89 million in size. I had a master's degree, and I had already grown and sold one other business. So I had some credentials when I decided to go and be a business coach. Now, I knew nothing about business coaching at the time, but I decided to, go about it, and I wanted to be a business coach. So I came up with a name. I went online on Fiverr and had somebody design a business logo. And then, because I thought it was, 2001, I decided to design some business cards for whatever silly reason. And I got 500 business cards printed. And then I spent $5,000 on a website, a big fancy website for some strange reason. I spent all this money on a website that was yellow coloring, which wasn't even a brand colors. And I got accountabilitynow.net. And then I spent more money to have somebody build me a Facebook page, business Facebook page, a business LinkedIn page, all of these things. And I thought about, I need to have social media posts and all these silly things. And then I went to these big lead sources. I went to Numi and Thumbtack and Bark, and I started spending close to $8,000 and $9,000 because I was a business coach, and I was going to help every business known to man with my business genius and expertise. And here's what happened. I started to get a lot of free coaching sessions. People would show up. I could get people on the phone, and then I would only get a few. After about 3 to 6 months, I would get a few clients, but they couldn't afford my services. So I would agree to coach them for free, which, by the way, I learned wasn't really coaching. And I actually only ended up with 2 paying clients. And my first client, this is no joke, the first client I signed up was paying me $91 a month. And I was giving her 8 calls a month, 8 calls a month for $91 a month, which is about $12 an hour. And that is a far cry from the $1 million practice that I have now. And I realized there's a problem, right? By the way, my daughter loves the fact that my first paying client was $12 an hour, and she makes more than that now as a 17-year-old. She loves to bring that up. And I realized I was missing something. There had to be a better way. Here I was, a business coach. I had credentials. I had sold a business. I was an executive of another business. I had a master's degree. I had all the success, and I couldn't be doing it more incorrectly. So I needed to have a paradigm shift. I know many of you as coaches will understand this concept, and I needed to relearn it. A paradigm shift is when you alter the way you're thinking about something and look about it a whole new way based on new information. I needed to stop thinking like a coach and start thinking like an owner. A coach is an employee of the business. A coach thinks about clients. A coach thinks about providing just service. A coach makes employee type decisions. An owner makes decisions about the business. An owner makes sales-like decisions, focuses on sales, focuses on revenue, focuses on growth. So I had to start thinking like an owner, and that shift mattered. And so I did what many of you have done. As an owner, I decided, let's go to Google. Let's ask Google. And now we might not ask Google, we might ask Chat GPT, but I went to Google and I said, okay, how do I grow my practice? How do I find leads? And everything started telling me you need to find a niche. In fact, there were two articles I read, one from Forbes and one from Harvard Business Review, that said coaches need to have a niche. And I realized I didn't have one. I was a business coach. I was trying to solve every business problem known to man. I had no niche. I was just a business coach. And so I needed to think about it differently. But I ran into this problem. And I'm sure all of you are having this same problem. The number one question: how can I niche? Aren't I leaving so much money on the table? If I niche down, I mean, think about all the money, all the clients that I could be helping that I'm not going to get paid for. Now I remembered something, and I do this with my clients. Success begins with the math. So I started to do the math. Now here's an example. Okay. And this is an example with divorced women, if that was your niche. If your average customer is paying you $497 a month, that target market, if you help divorced women, there's approximately 22 million every year. And look at that percentage. If you got 0.0000001% of that, which is 22 clients a year, and if you average that every year, you'd make $131,000 a year. You'd be a six-figure coach. You'd be in the top 10% of coaches in the world just from niching down at $497 a month. I did the math and I realized, wait a minute, math is in my favor if I niche down. And I went back all the way to some of my earliest lessons when I started my very first business, which was a lead generation business, when we started to realize about the importance of simplification. And I realized this statement right here: scaling my practice is not about finding who you can coach. Scaling your practice is about finding who you can sell coaching to. I'm going to say that again because I want you all to tattoo that statement on the insides of your eyelids so you read it when you sleep. Scaling your practice is not about finding who you can coach, because I believe all of you could coach just about anybody. Scaling your practice is about finding who you can sell coaching to. When I started my first lead generation business, this is the first business that we grew and sold for $2 million. We would say this statement all the time: if you can help everybody, then you can help nobody. And the same thing applies to coaching. If you can coach everybody, then you can coach nobody. Russell Brunson, I have his quote there on the side. He used to say this statement. He's the CEO of ClickFunnels. He would say there are riches in the niches. The more simple you become, the more focused you become, the more successful opportunity you have. And this focus starts with this statement: understanding your undeniable authority. So what is undeniable authority? And where does this come out? And this is what I had to learn so I could figure out what my niche was. Undeniable, let's define these two phrases. Undeniable is plainly true, unquestionably excellent, or genuine. Okay. So, and authority is the power to influence or command thought or be cited as an expert. So if I combine them, undeniable authority is you are unquestionably cited as an expert or an influencer in a specific industry or area. Without question, you should be in a spot. Now, how important is it? How important is undeniable authority or a niche? I've got three. I'm going to use a simple, silly metaphor example, and then I'll give a very serious one. On the screen, you'll see three tools: hammer, screwdriver, and a chainsaw. If I'm in the backyard with my son, and I said to my son, hey, I'm trying to cut down a tree, I want you to go grab me a tool from the garage to cut down this tree. And he goes to the garage and he grabs me the screwdriver. Now, he brings it. He grabbed me a tool to cut down the tree, but it would be ineffective. It wouldn't work. There's only one tool that would work. That's the chainsaw. That's what I need. And so I need to be very specific. I don't need to get a tool. I need the chainsaw. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because right now some of you are going to market saying, I am a tool. I'm a universal tool that can solve every problem. I can cut down a tree. I can hammer a nail. I can screw in a screw. I can do anything you want. But your clientele are saying, I don't want everything. I need a chainsaw to cut down a tree. I don't want every single thing. I need a hammer to hammer in a nail. I don't need somebody who can do everything. I need somebody who can just solve my marital problem. I don't need somebody that can do everything. I just need somebody who can help me solve my relationship with my boss. That's it. That's the silly example. A very serious example is with my amazing wife. My amazing wife is a cancer survivor. When she was diagnosed with cancer, she was 26 and I was 25. And we didn't go to just a general practitioner doctor. We went to a very specific trained oncologist on purpose because we wanted somebody who knew exactly what she was dealing with and could give us the exact advice we needed. The same is with coaching. The niche is that important. By having undeniable authority in a specific area, it screams to them, you know what they're dealing with, and you can help them the best. The undeniable authority is your marketable permission that you obtain in order to sell your specific coaching, to sell your coaching to specific people. And here's how you build it out, your 4-step guide. And you follow these 4 steps, you will have it. It's by eliminating your limiting beliefs, focusing on a problem, defining the why, and shrinking the 50%, shrinking your market. I'm going to show you how. First, this one can't be ignored, is I want you to eliminate this limiting belief that you all are suffering with right now. I want you to be the biggest fish in the smallest pond right now. I know many of you are wrestling with, but I could help so many people. Remember, coaching in and of itself is an easy job. And I'm not being disrespectful. I know it's a hard job, but it's also an easy job, meaning it's a fixed set of questions when you apply with good listening skills that just about anyone can do. I have never seen in my years of coaching and working with coaches, I've never seen a coach with negative reviews. Never. I have seen varying degrees of good coaching for sure, but I've never seen a coach with negative reviews. So if that being said, it's not about who you can coach. I'll repeat it. Not about who you can coach. It's about who you can sell it to. So I want you to get out of this mindset. I can help everybody. I don't want you to focus down and be the biggest whale, the largest whale. Get out of the crowded ocean. Be the biggest whale into the smallest pond. Eliminate that limiting belief that you need to be big and find a big opportunity. I want you to squeeze it down. And this is the first domino that knocks everything else down. And the reason I start there before we go to the other steps is I'm going to quote Zig Ziglar, who said, if the people who won't take step number 1 never take step number 2, and you're going to repeat this to yourself over and over and over and over. And if you were one of my direct clients, I would tell you, write down right now, I need to be a big fish in a small pond. Big. I need to be the biggest fish in the smallest pond. Write it down. That would be your step right now. Now, step number 2, focus on one problem, very specific, as opposed to focusing on multiple sets of problems on your website, like we do with stress and relationships and time management and getting unstuck and all these things that you all have listed. I want you to focus on one very specific thing that you solve. And I'm talking about a very specific problem, not these big high-level platitudes. For example, when I talk about my business, when I was going through this exercise, I started thinking about, okay, I'm not a business coach. My background was with sales and marketing. So I work with CEOs and I help them build sales and marketing programs. That's what I do. That's the problem I solve. I help them build sales and marketing programs. That's the one problem that I solve. I help them build a sales and marketing program or a sales and marketing system. That's what I do. So focus on one problem. Don't say anxiety. You don't, that's not a problem. I help you solve this. I help you find the one specific problem that you solve and really be as specific as you can. Then step 3, define why. Why are you the best in the world at solving this problem? Now, this one's important. If you can't define step 3, why you're the best in the world at solving that problem, you need to go back to step 2 and get a new problem. This is why it's undeniable authority. You have to know step 3 of why you're the best in the world at solving that problem. Otherwise, you've got the wrong problem. You do not have undeniable authority in that space. And look at some of these questions. What experience do I have? What credentials do I have? How many people have I coached in this space? How many testimonials do I have? What data do I have that demonstrates my work? And as I was able to flesh out building these systems in sales and marketing, I realized I'm the best in the world at helping small business owners build a sales and marketing system. I'm the best in the world at that. And then you get to step 4, shrink the market by 50%. Intentionally cut it in half. You do this by industry, demographic, gender, geography, whatever it is, local market always wins. I don't care if you focus just in Vancouver or Johannesburg. That was with somebody on the call, whatever it is. And so like with mine, I said, I'm going to do sales and marketing, small business owners under 5 million, build their sales and marketing system, shrunk it down. And right when I did that, I mean, just right when I did that, my business started to grow. I went from almost no revenue to skyrocket when I created my niche and said, I coach small business owners under 5 million, and I help them build their sales and marketing system. They have to be under 5 million. And I help them build their sales and marketing system. That's it. Same will happen with you if you follow these steps to do that. Now, some of you might be asking, what about my certifications? I've got ICF. I mean, you might see your certification on there, and there's literally hundreds and hundreds more certifications. Hundreds of certifications. What do they mean? This is from the ICF site, okay? They even say these are the 4 main benefits for getting an ICF certification. You get enhanced credibility, professional development, improved coaching skills, and networking opportunities. The reason I've got them highlighted the way that I do is because only one is actually fully focused on sales and business development. And the reason I highlighted that is because your certifications will make you a better coach. I believe that. But they cannot or will not make you a bigger practice. Your certifications only have as much value as your potential clients give them value. If your clients don't give your ICF or other credentials value, then they are not valuable. And I see too many coaches spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, thinking these credentials are their ticket to a 6 or 7 figure life. But that 90% that I showed you at the beginning, so many of those coaches have certifications and they've spent money on. But it wasn't certifications why they were failing. It was lack of business, lack of niche, lack of focus. That's why they were failing. Let me tell you briefly about Sam and the accent code. Sam followed our program. He had just been furloughed as a speech pathologist when he joined our program, and he was wanting to be a coach. He wanted to build his business. So we helped him identify his niche. You can't even get more niche than Sam did. He started to work with entrepreneurs that had a very heavy Asian accent, very heavy Chinese accent, because he wanted to show them through his accent code program and coaching that he could get them to fix their accent, build their confidence, and be more successful. And in the first year, his practice grew to 6 figures and even higher the second year. And because he followed exactly the 4 steps we talked about and sold exactly as we talked about it, you can see his testimonial that he left. The reason I put this in here is because I wanted to show you that everything we're talking about works. This isn't just hyperbole or theory. We believe and back up everything that we say. And you might be thinking some of these questions like, but Don, I've got clients already. Do I have to niche down? Or what if I help more people than my niche? Like, what if they're not in my niche? Does a niche really matter? Or can I niche too much? I hear that all the time. What if I'm too niched? Won't it turn people away? Right? Don't overthink this. Remember these 2 statements. Where you start is not where you end up. And just because you niche isn't the same as saying no. I've got a picture on the screen of Tony Robbins. People forget that Tony Robbins wasn't always selling from a stage $5,000 a year coaching practices. Tony started working privately with addictions and then addictions and phobias because that's where his undeniable authority was. And then as he worked with more people, it expanded a little bit at a time till eventually started selling on television and then eventually on a stage and then eventually more and more. And it wasn't for 30 years before he started doing business coaching. Where you start is not where you end up. And you take, for example, mine. I've said numerous times here that I now niche down and I always go to market the same, that I only work with small businesses under 5 million, and we help them build their sales and marketing system. And I say over and over, we don't do individual coaching, we don't do live coaching, we don't do team coaching, we don't do leadership and any of those types of things. And at the same time, of my 71 clients, more than 60% of my revenue comes from team coaching, executive coaching, leadership coaching, all those other elements. Because just because I niche doesn't mean no. We niche so focused to market that people come to me all the time and say, Don, I know you only work with small businesses under 5 million and help them build their sales and marketing systems, but would you do one-on-one coaching with me? Would you work with my executive here? Would you do this live coaching? Would you do this here? Would you do leadership coaching? And we say, well, I will, but I have to charge you more because it's not my niche. So where you niche doesn't mean no. So, but you have to be niched to attract them in. You can't miss this step. And this 4 steps that we just walked you through will help. The secret for finding it is use that undeniable authority. By following our 4 steps, you can attract those clients easier. Now, let me talk to you through the second piece, which is building and naming your program. If you don't like selling, okay, maybe this is you, it makes you feel gross or awkward, or you don't feel comfortable pushing yourself and putting it in front of people, or maybe you're a good motivator, okay, or maybe you feel like you're a good coach if people just found you. Maybe that's that's someone, or that's you. Well, when I started my practice, I ran into these 2 problems: that selling coaching was harder than I thought, and that people were embarrassed by trying to buy coaching. There's a concept in Western civilization that coaching is embarrassing to buy, that it means you're not good enough. And I learned step 1 is you have to take coaching out of the abstract. If I could do anything, I would hope all of you would eliminate saying the word coaching in your process because it's confusing. I want you to make coaching simple. So name your program. I literally went into ChatGPT and had them list sample ideas for you. Those are all little names that you can use: Empowered Life, Mindful Leadership, Healthy Habits, Career Catalyst. Name your program. That's the first step, is name your program something that they can use. The key is to make it memorable. Make your name memorable so that it's a tangible item for them. But the key is to avoid what's called a word trap. And what is a word trap? It's a high-level phrase that you, the coach, know, but they, as the prospect, don't understand. And the more you say it, the more confusing it is. I'll give you some examples, and some of you won't like this, but the word life coach is a word trap because they don't know what it means. When you say, I'm a life coach, and they say, well, what does that mean? Boom, trap. Or I'm a transitions coach, or success coach, or mindset coach, or wellness coach, or growth coach. All of those things are confusing. And if you have to save after you've said, I'm a wellness coach, and somebody says, well, what does that mean? That means you're in a word trap. Be specific with what you do and use the 1, 2, 3 model as you have your program. If you look at the pictures to the right, we think in 1, 2, 3s. Think about your life. You've got the ABCs, 3 types of gas, red, yellow, green. We have all these things in our life that follow these models. So if you have your Career Catalyst program, step 1, step 2, step 3, it makes it really easier for them to understand your program and to enroll and be a part of it. So I've got this little template here by Coach Brad Pitt. He's a fantastic executive career coach. And his program, the Career Catalyst program, he's got the resume and online presence diagnostic, self-discovery, and step 3 is identify and find opportunities. It's really easy. And this is just an example of what executive career coach Brad Pitt does. And he's a great coach. If you want to book a free call with him, I can hook you up. And I want to just then tell you a little bit about Bill. Bill went through our program. Okay. Bill came to us. He'd been a coach for years, and he was a retirement coach. He'd been struggling to find his niche. In fact, he had signed up for multiple marketing courses that were designed for coaches, and he had never found success. And as he said, he finally found his niche, changed his website, changed his entire program, and landed 2 clients through the 8-week program. And he said this was exactly what he needed. And I love Bill. I love his story. And I get thrilled every time I talk about it. You might be thinking the same thing is, does this matter? What if I have clients, so I really need a program name? Does it make it easier to sell? And I have those 2 logos on the screen of Walt Disney World and McDonald's. And I'll highlight McDonald's as a perfect example. What does McDonald's do? McDonald's, their niche is they sell food to parents that don't have any time. That's their niche. And what's their program? Their program is Happy Meal number 1 or Value Meal number 5. That's their programs. Every business follows the same model. We just might not realize it. And that's what I'm trying to hope you all, I'm going to bring it all the way back to that paradigm shift I had to have to stop thinking like an employee and think like an owner. Use the best practices you've been following your whole life when you go to McDonald's or Walt Disney World, but now just apply it to your practice. The second secret for finding this niche is you got to get a program name. So you're communicating clearly so your clients understand what it is you do. You're not confusing them, so they will easily buy from you. Now, the last piece is focusing your message. Some of you might wonder, I don't know what to post on social media. I don't know what to write in my emails. I don't know how to prospect on LinkedIn, or I don't want to be pushy or salesy. So remember the rule of 3. There's 3 places to message. You message your existing clients, you message your potential clients, and then there's your actual prospects, people that are interested that you speak to on a sales call. So briefly, these are the messages you give to your actual existing clients. These are newsletters, video messaging, automated emails. And I'm going to make this real simple. I would encourage all of you to use technology or outsourced services to make this easy. I use these 3 services that I use them every day. I use a service called Volley, Touch Plus Marketing for my newsletter, and Podmatch for my podcasting, so that I never have to worry about how to communicate with my clients. They handle it all for me without even me thinking about it, because it's just too much work. It's too much work to stay in touch with them. It makes it super easy. Social media. Some of you are worried about, how do I stay on social media? How do I do it? I'm going to give you right now the 4-step tool to be great on social. 1, be consistent. 2, talk about problems. Talk about the problems that your clients face every day and the way you would solve them. Number 3, use video. Stop doing Canva text placements and use video. But then number 4, the one that you all miss, social media is a 2-way conversation. Engage with other people's content. Find your dream 100 clients and engage with their content every day. Leave 1 or 2 sentences on things that they post. Tell them how brilliant they are. Don't just leave a fire emoji or an amen or a grateful thing. Actually engage with their content. And over time, as you do this, you'll build your own tribe. That's your social media strategy. And focus on one platform, not all of them. Dominate one. We've got 190,000 followers on Instagram for a reason, because we're not doing LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. We are owning one. We're dominating Instagram, and that's it. If you want to dominate, own one until you absolutely own it, and then you can expand. Now, the last part I want to emphasize before we wrap up is the sales process. And don't confuse yourself. Sales is a part of niching down. You have to focus your message on how you sell. And it comes with understanding what selling is and what selling isn't. Selling isn't this. That guy on the left, some of you know this guy. That is not what selling is. Selling isn't sleazy, deceptive, lying, pushy, or skeezy. It's not some gross, weird thing. Selling is this: asking good questions, telling thought-provoking stories, getting your client to consider who they are, and eliminating limiting beliefs. Selling is exactly what coaching is. If I replace that with coaching, you're all already doing that. And that's what good selling is. It's the same thing. It's just with intent. And that's why every one of you on this call could be brilliant at sales if you change the way you frame your mind around selling. And that's why I teach what's called the Yoda model, because I'm a big Star Wars guy, where you engage, create emotion, and you give it a name. And Yoda, if you know Star Wars, right at the beginning, Yoda meets Luke, and Luke's confused. He's like, I don't know what this is, man. I don't know who you are. So Yoda starts to engage Luke at the beginning, and then he shows him his power for free. He lifts up this X-Wing out of the water and shows him this brilliance. And that power was called the Force. And at that moment, if you've seen Empire Strikes Back, it's at that moment Luke forever changes and becomes a fanatical follower of Yoda. And that's what I want you to do in your coaching sessions, your free sales calls, is stop being so protective of your brilliance. Give it away. Demonstrate to them how brilliant you are in a free coaching session. Really coach them and let them see it, and they'll become a fanatical follower. Be Yoda. Be more Yoda than you realize. And for those of you that might not know who Yoda is, you private message me and I'll make some big Star Wars recommendations. They'll change your life. Let me tell you briefly about Dennis. Dennis is such a great story. He's the founder of a business out of Germany, one of the largest personal development programs out of Germany, where they've grown over 2,000%, over 5 million euros a year as they've gone through our program. We've helped them not only improve their niche and get their program right, but lots of more coaching through all the things that we do. And the reason we share this story and all the other stories was because everything we teach not only applies to my business, Accountability Now, but countless other coaches. And you might be thinking, well, how do I learn how to use social media? Isn't that expensive? Or what do I say on all these texts? What do I do on all this stuff? How do I get a right script? Isn't that hard? And yes, it is hard. It's time consuming. It's frustrating. And I'm going to explain about all that right now. But the third secret for this, to get your niche right, is you have to focus your message to make your clients go from confusion to clarity. That's an important phrase, confusion to clarity, and how you market, reach, and sell to them to get them to enroll in your program. Now, at this point, you're one of these two things. You're either the dog on the top. You're like, I'm excited. I love this. I've got a clarity around what I'm going to do with my niche. Or I'm like the little girl on the bottom. I'm drinking from the fire hose. I'm overwhelmed and I don't know what to do. Whichever one of you are, stay for just a second longer, because I want to show you this. Oh, it looks like the audio is not working. Great. Okay. Well, then I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. We're going to just skip that. I want to talk to you about, well, we'll send that out in a video afterwards. Okay. I want to talk to you about Numi Sales Academy. This has been rated the #1 online training program in the United States. And what Numi Sales Academy is first and foremost, it is not a do-it-yourself program. It is a live coaching, direct access program where we hold live sessions with me. I run them every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern, where you get interaction, access, support with me, working with your program to help you build and scale your practice. That's the first and foremost element of it. It's all live, not just some get on a course and figure it out on your own. That's the root of Numi Sales Academy. So 8-week program, one-on-one in our group sessions. Secondly, Numi Sales Academy is about leads, sales, and growth. We don't work on how to be a coach. We focus on marketing. How do you build it? How do you find them online through social, through Bark, through Numi, through Thumbtack? How do you use the strategies not only that I've used, but other coaches that I've worked with from all parts of the world? We have coaches that have engaged this from India, from Denmark, from the UK and Germany, all through the United States and South America. We employ all those strategies to help you scale your practice. So you get the strategy, the process program, and personal script development. Next, social media continues to scale and grow. We provide you with the strategy that I use for your specific practice, that I've used to grow my Instagram profile, as well as what you would do for your program, for your specific profile. We audit what you're doing and give you the direct recommendations to improve it. So your specific evaluation and your specific strategy. Next, your online presence matters. You've got to have a great profile. You've got to have great LinkedIn. You've got to have a great website that not only looks good, but converts. So we review your website, your Numi profile, your LinkedIn review. All those pieces have got to be focused and tied and connected together in order for you to convert free calls, so people can do free coaching sessions. Last, we really work on this mindset. This is a big chunk of the 8 weeks where we're working on you to stop thinking like a coach, but acting like a business owner. So you'll go through the entire business growth strategy process. We have, last is, you're part of a community. We have our online membership program and you get lifetime access. We have over 150 hours of content working with our VIP group, with content from email marketing to website to challenges that we've rolled out to more. And you get access to all of that just for being a part of this 8-week program. Now, I said at the beginning, if you stay till the end, we have extras and I'm going to walk through those. You get 2 workbooks, our coaching practice workbook, which will help you niche down your practice. You get our coaching resource kit. This gives you my texting template that I use, my dialing template that I use, my actual phone script that we use that's helped generate my $1 million practice. And I can't even tell you how many more people use this exact script to sell their coaching. You get all of that. Now, if I was going to determine the value of all of this, we went through and tried to price it out the number of hours, and it's absolutely worth $136,000 a year. When I think about how much it's worth. And all of you came here for a reason. And some of you, there's 2 types of coaches. There's coaches that join saying, hey, I'm just starting out and I don't want to waste the time and energy to try to figure it out on my own. Or I'm ready to scale. I've been at this a long time. I'm ready to take it to the next level. You're one of those 2 coaches. But before I go on to how much it takes to invest in this, I want you to remember the law of entropy. The law of entropy states that anything left unto itself is in a constant state of decay. And that's why I've got that picture of that bike here. That bike left unto itself is constantly decaying. Tony Robbins said, everyone needs a coach. This 8-week program is about giving everyone the chance to have a coach without costing an arm and a leg to have it. And if this program helped you find and use your undeniable authority, build your program, find your niche, give you the marketing system that works, kept you motivated, driven so you could build your program. Ask yourself, what is that really worth? It's absolutely worth $136,000. There's no way we would charge that. There's no way. It is only 3 payments of $797. And now here's the best part. What I said is these are the bonuses because all of you stayed. And I love this. I'm excited for this year to do this. Number one, everything is backed up by 100% money back guarantee. Newbie's a part of this. They've said, if you don't get a newbie lead during the 8-week program, you get a full refund. So all this is backed up by a money back guarantee. So that's awesome. That is fantastic that Newbie's backing this up. Bonus number 2, all of this right now is cut in half. Right now, 50% cut in half, 3 payments of not $798, okay, $398 right now. And then bonus number 3, I will work with everybody that joins today. I'm going to give you a one-on-one with them today. We're going to go through your business, go through your website, go through whatever you want to go through. Okay. These 3 bonuses, we've never done all 3 bonuses at once before. It's 2023. We're excited for this year. 3 simple payments of $398.50. Thank you. We've got Joseph joining. Super excited. Here's how you join. If you go, your discount code is BizGrowth. So if you go to that QR code right now, you got to go into the chat and tell me that you've signed up so I can get you signed up for your one-on-one, or go to that website. We'll make sure you get your one-on-one. A member of my team will contact you so we get your one-on-one, and we will get you into our program. We are seeing people every year. Last year alone, we had 7 6-figure coaches be a part of our program, and we had 1 hit $250,000. It's super exciting. The best thing that I ever did was invest in my practice and start working with my own coach. You can't build a practice and not have a coach. Now, Amy asked a great question. The vast majority of our coaches are part-time. So that is very, very common. The vast majority are starting this on the side, trying to build their practice. So that is very, very normal. Thank you. We got some people, now we have 3 people signing up. This is awesome. I'm going to work with all of you one-on-one. Very excited for this. Don't miss the opportunity to take advantage of this opportunity to build your practice. And either way, every one of these pieces is going to give you the ability to niche down your practice and really answer those questions that you've always struggled with. Don't skip it. Take the time to niche right and get out of that 90%. If you want to build your practice and be in the top, now's your chance to do it. Now, we do have some time. I'm going to be able to answer some questions. So if you have questions, post it in the chat. Thank you, Bernice. Awesome. I'm going to work with you one-on-one. I can't wait. A member of my team will get with you. If you have questions, we've got a few minutes. Anything about your practice, post it in the chat and I'll answer questions, any questions you've got. My dog is protecting me from people outside. You can tell this is what my dog does. And I know some of you might have been confused when I had Brad Pitt on the screen. You thought, was that me? No, that was Brad Pitt. Ariel said, how many times is too many times to follow up with a lead who is interested? In the coaching resource kit, that ebook that I have, you'll see my exact number, but we will follow up with a lead 21 times in 14 days. Okay. And at 21 times will be a mixture of call, text, and email, but it's mostly call and text. And largely driven in the first 5 days. Meaning like 2 calls a day, 3 calls a day type of a thing. I'll say this to Ariel so everybody can hear it. this is part of the reason why the academy is so good, is because all of us struggle with, do I make the phone call? Am I bothering these people? I'm promising you're not bothering these people. They used all of their courage to fill out that form on Numi, to fill out that form. So chase them, go after them, honor their courage by them saying they need a coach. Don't you be insecure. You go get them and you go help them. Okay. Vicky said, my original niche was women in tech, because I was a woman in tech for 25 years. I thought I might broaden just slightly to include business as well, because the market is really bad right now. Bad idea. Okay, Vicky, I would ask those same, it's hard for me to answer just that general question. I would take more time and want to ask you some additional questions. Okay, because women in tech isn't really solving the problem, right? I would say women in tech solving which problem. Okay, and like women in business solving which problem, right? You don't need necessarily to broaden. I want you to be the biggest fish in the smallest pond. I want you to get so tight. I work with women in tech solving this problem. That's the key to niching down. I promise there are so many people with your specific problem that you could help. I know it. Any other final questions? I know we've had a number of people sign up. We're going to leave it open for you to sign up through the remainder of today. Awesome. Thank you, Scott. Thank you for joining. Okay. Always reach out immediately. Never, ever wait. I hope to see you all this Thursday. We've got a number of people in the program. Yes, if you sign up, we will leave that open. Thank you, Mary. We're going to leave it open for the remainder of February. So it'll be open for as the month closes. There's never been a better time to be a coach. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you all this on Thursday. Thank you, everybody. Happy coaching. Let's go build these practices. Thanks, everyone.